Now, I want to go back a little bit because,
Mhm.
touching back on your covenant with Black America, I believe that book came out in 2006, right?
Mhm. Sounds about right. Yeah.
Now, you fast forward to 2020,
Mhm.
in comes Ice Cube with his contract with Black America. It's
Mhm.
very, there has some similarities there between the two of
Mhm.
them. He caught a lot of flack for having the audacity to say that, you know, uh, Black America, our votes aren't just going straight to the Democratic Party. They shouldn't. Our issues are bipartisan. And I want to take this contract with Black America and I want to give this to both of you guys. And based on who says what and how things go, then we should make our decision off that. Because the Trump administration looked at it and then formulated their platinum plan based off it, he caught a lot of what I felt was unnecessary flack, especially in
Mhm.
the face of the fact that when he presented it to Biden and Harris, um, essentially they just shoot him off and said, "Oh, well, we'll get back to you later if we
Mhm.
win." You know, what was your take on that whole ordeal and how it played out? And what's your overall take on Ice Cube's contract with Black America?
Yep. Thank you for the question. It's a good one. So I talked to Q about this, and I expressed to him the sentiment that you just expressed. That I thought that people were pretty tough on Q. I thought he caught some hell that he didn't frankly deserve. And as I said earlier in this conversation, one of your first questions was the difference between black people disagreeing but not behaving in disagreeable ways, in demeaning and divisive and disenfranchising ways. And I thought that people were just mean and nasty and vitriolic toward Ice Cube, a great artist and a great entertainer um, who has a right to address critical issues. He's a citizen. And so I don't think that artists have to stay in their lane, as it were. I regard Ice Cube as a citizen artist. And so I actually celebrated the fact that he, as a member of the hip hop community, was getting more intimately and more deeply involved in the politics of our country. I love that. I wish more people would do that. At the same time, again, I thought he was treated sort of viciously. And at the end of the day, we're not a monolith as a community. And you ought to be holding both sides accountable. I saw nothing wrong in Ice Cube's approach. Both sides ought to be held accountable. And people forget about this. People forget this. When the Covenant with Black America came out, when that book came out, um, I moderated two presidential debates. It was the first time in the history of this country where there were two presidential debates with all the candidates that focused exclusively on black issues. Now, since that time, others have tried to repeat that. But it was the first time when I produced it for PBS in prime time that there'd been two presidential debates where all the candidates focused on nothing for a couple hours but black issues, issues important to black people. The Democratic debate, and that's when Hillary was running and Barack Obama was running and Joe Biden was running and John Edwards was running. Everybody was running in that election. That debate was held on the campus of Howard University. So it was a conversation about black issues, and I made sure we held it live on PBS in prime time on a campus of an HBCU, Howard University. We had another debate with the Republican candidates talking about the issues in the covenant. That debate was held at Morgan State in Baltimore, another HBCU. So I reminded Q that when the covenant came out, we had two debates with Democrats and Republicans. We held them accountable to it. I just made it happen on two black college campuses. So it was kind of interesting to me that they went after Q when they had celebrated the fact that the covenant was being put in front of both left and right, Republican and Democrat. Nobody had a problem with that. So my point is simply this: some of the pushback that Cube got was because the guy's name in the White House was Donald Trump. And let me be very clear: I am no Donald Trump fan, and he ain't a fan of mine. Donald Trump, I think the New York Times did an article some years ago. New York Times did an article about the 199 people that Trump hates the most on social media. I think I was like number 97 or something. So it was a badge of honor that Donald Trump went in on me so many times and so viciously on Twitter when he was on Twitter before they kicked him off. He went in on me a lot. And again, I wear that with a badge of honor to this very day. Um, but some of the hell that Cube got was because Donald Trump was president, and black people were so reactionary that anybody that talked to Donald Trump, anybody tried to hold him accountable, even would catch hell. You mentioned Steve Harvey earlier in this conversation. We all recall the hell that Steve Harvey got for hanging out with Trump, and Kanye caught hell for hanging out with Trump. There's a long list of Negroes, trust me, who Donald Trump has gotten into trouble with the black community. And I'm not suggesting that black people are wrong to critique our own when we think they're being too cozy with folk who are pushing agendas that are not in our best interest. But I'm making a distinction between holding folk accountable for cozying up to rabid, racist, radical, reactionary Republicans. That's one thing. Holding them accountable to the best of our agenda is another thing. And I thought Ice Cube was just sort of maltreated in that moment.